So I didn't take the call. Finished before I could. Yeah, I finished it. So I wanted to capture what this journey has been. I, I, I mean, I just didn't know in some ways where it came from. Just this need. Well, I did because the experience was what it is. Didn't think it would turn out and I'll get to here. But this is a day where I don't feel that I'm just going to be going, meeting the pressure that it has been, the heaving and the nerves and the tingling and everything else that goes with this book this needs to be finished. I really feel I've gotten to a space now that I can move on. I did not intend to get stuck in the place that I was. Um, Sometimes you can move on easier when something is not consistently presented to you in a way, and even though that I'm very blessed in a sense, it's not really impact or violent situation in a physical way, it still has its impact. And I think that's from years of experiencing, just of my life experiences, which I want to heal from. I don't want to. I want to be able to speak in such a way that is freeing, not only for anybody I've been in contact with or connected to. There's some people who will never heal, who never want good for you. That's their journey. But for my journey, I don't want to stay in the pain, the bruise, or the scar. I just don't want to continue to be there. And with the time of life I was at, with everything that was happening, with where finances were, it was like turning the wheel without power steering, trying to get myself out of the state I had got into. And what I wanted to deal with was my journey in it, regardless of who else wants to claim to be part of that, or I could say circumstances with them, or the situation I got into, or whatever was related to. At the end of the day, it comes back to me, and I had to deal with everything in my own private space, because for a lot of the time, despite being a mother, despite being a sister and a friend, a colleague, or whatever, I spend a lot, copious amounts of time on my own. So really, the only responsibility to get that time on my own to be happy is me, because there isn't nobody else. Even if there's somebody else there I'm connected to, or I'm in love with, or want to be in love with, or want to have in my life, they can only share with you what you're allowed to be available to them, and you can only get the part of them that they are open to sharing with you. You Nothing more than that can happen. So even though you're together with someone, you still have to process and deal with things as an individual in a separate body to them. Even if you look at programs about conjoined people, they still are individuals, even though they share physical space and skin and everything. So what I wanted to document for my own purposes is how I'm feeling. For a long time I felt so tense, and I literally was at, ill at ease until I wrote those books. I really felt if I, this last book I wrote, is Cavernous Hearts, I debated it. I put it up on the thing to be published, and then I pulled it back, and I pulled back, and I just kept thinking, should I do? I mean, it's just, again, it still is. What is the point? And then if I every time I tried to make a decision to move on and do something, it just wouldn't open up. That's the feeling it is. It just would not open up for me to get somewhere else. And you say, oh, push past it, or if you push that, that's like a muscle, just push it and build it, and you will be able to get past it, and you won't have to do this again. Well, no, that didn't happen until I actually sent the content through, and now I feel like this space can open. Now I can start getting my head round to do the next part of what will heal and free me. And I suppose that might be the journey of healing. Healing, it's not, for some people it can be general, but if you really want to be healed, and you want to connect with the bigger self, your higher intuition, or the soul, the visitation of the soul, or your spiritual journey, or you just be part of the wider expanding universe, then I suppose it really does encourage you. It's not even I suppose that has been my experience. It really does encourage you to go into certain places. And sometimes, if anybody's observing this, you could tell from my journey, I struggle to hold on to the energy, and that's why I get gaps in what I say, and I speak as dyslexic because I write in the sense of describing dyslexia as leaving words out. Sometimes I just clip together a sentence without putting the the or of in. I seem to find myself saying that sometimes. But the journey really has been a question, really has been asking, being able to allow one side of myself to ask the other side of myself for answers. That's really how it's been. And I mean, I'd opened up to that journey before, but I still can't believe what's happened to me. And I was in such depths of pain and darkness and of the unknown. And I mean, I think I went beyond prayer, if that's possible, beyond begging, beyond pleading, that I be saved in some way and really pull myself out, because I could see all the patterns. I don't need to remind anybody, but I could see all the patterns that came from childhood, and I started to see the connections, and then even more clarity came, and even this is how you may have been connected to here, and this is what has affected you, and just that clarity. Not saying that you now have to do all it is this, but it's just these maybes, and that maybe is just like opens up. It's like turning another street and actually finding your destination. And that's happened to me so many times. But what was different when I was younger, I found opportunities came in an instant and they changed, and just things were a lot quicker and a lot more clearer, a lot quicker. And this time it was just real. I don't know if it's just older age. It was a real trudge. It was just a real. I mean, it was walking with a knapsack, a suitcase, pulling a trolley. It was just enormous amounts of weight. It felt like, and I'm just thankfully grateful. I am so thankfully grateful to be blessed enough to repent everything and surrender to what this journey has been. And it leaves me in absolute tears, but I'm so glad, so glad.